that it's going to take real everyday people like you and me sitting here to correct the problems that exist in this city. It's great, Mayor Lights, it's good to see you here today too. We're going to have to work with our city officials as we do this, because it's going to take everybody coming together for a better and safer Dayton. I don't know how many people heard our first interview that we did on Dayton Metro, but in it we briefly discussed on why we're doing this, and I'm sure Tam will agree with me here. It's all about neighbors getting to know one another. So I challenge you to take these next few minutes. If you see somebody here in the room that you don't know, talk with them. Introduce yourself to them. Because we all come from different economic backgrounds. And in here there is no black or white. We're all Daytonian. And I want people to understand that. We're trying to get that point across. So take time, introduce yourself to someone that you don't know in here, and we'll pick back up and resume in the next couple of minutes.
I don't know.
That's probably what it is. Nice to meet you. See, these are the ones that we need to get the city better for. Exactly. And we're going to leave them with nothing.
Interesting, you do this all the time, huh?
Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Get up and do something. It's not going to change by complaining. It's only going to change by getting out there and making a difference. It really frustrated me to hear people say, oh, well, you know, I don't want to do this downtown. It's downtown. Come downtown and make it change. Force change upon it.
This you don't know, and that probably because that leads to a stronger community and a stronger city. I talked to Reverend Walker the other day, a great man. I talked to him about 3-4 hours from the tour of the Wesley Center down there, and they're doing lots of wonderful things inside their community. You know, he looked at me and he said, the greater love of man is cooled off, and that's true. All too oftentimes you look at the side of our communities, the side of our neighborhoods, and people, one, they've lost that caring attitude towards one another. And a lot of people seem to just not care anymore about their neighbor or the people that live down the road from them. But it's this organization, Citizens for Change, is not only about getting to know your neighbor, getting to know those inside of your community, but actually everyday people working for that real improvement within the city. We've talked to some great people yesterday doing our food drive there on Smithville Road. They said the same thing. You know, it'd be great. It's a great concept. It'd be great to see people getting to know one another. And also, we're here to act as a voice for you. If you have some suggestion that you would like to see worked on in the city for improvement in Dayton, we will try our hardest and we will work towards those improvements within the communities. Real quick, they started a similar program like this in Portland, Oregon. It wasn't called Citizens for Change Portland, but it was established in Oregon by everyday residents coming together. And they were able to specifically address the problems within their city. And they were able to come united, and they were able to gather a whole host of volunteers to help turn some of their communities around. So what we want to do is we want to expound on that and take suggestions from you, the residents inside these communities and neighborhoods, and work towards that really beneficial improvement. All too often, I know when I tell people like, "Oh, you're going on a date?" Oh, yeah, stay away from that. You know, there's a certain stigma that exists about our city that deeply disgusts me. When I talk to everybody, "Oh, you're from Dayton." "No, there's nothing up in Dayton. There's nothing around there. There's no good from there." I'm here to tell you that I love this city. I love this community, and I just love being here. And it's going to take attitudes like that to make this city better. And I tell people, I'm like, well, you know what? Every city, every region in the United States has its problems. It's how we deal with those problems, how we adapt and overcome problems that exist within our communities and neighborhoods that will make our city better in the long run. And we can come together for unique suggestions on city improvement, and we can work on doing so. A lot of people have said, well, you know, the jobs have left the area, and they have. There is a great deal of many people, and I'm sure some of you know people that have been laid jobs that used to exist here in town that no longer do. We had what GM truck factory left, NCR left, companies that had been around in this area for years. And then we hear about small business closure, such as Gem City Records, the other day, a leaving town. And these were businesses that have been part of the fabric inside of our communities and what the history of Dayton, and they're gone. And what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to come together for suggestion and creative ideas to bring this business and industry back into our city and town. Right now, as everybody's probably aware of, we're sitting on a lot of natural resources here in the Miami Valley region, water being one of them. Last week, I had the great opportunity to sit down with the Chamber of Commerce president from Jonesboro, Arkansas. They have roughly a population of 60,000 in their town and relatively low crime rate. They had 2 homicides all of last year. And what they have done inside this community is they have sold themselves in such a way that has attracted this major industry to come in. It hasn't been an overnight process for them. It took them about 15 or 17 years in the making. But as a result now of the good work being done inside of the city and communities, they've been able to attract the Nestle plant, they've been able to attract the Post plant, they've been able to attract Butterball, Coca-Cola, and they got over 21 major factories, not counting 70 other manufacturing places in their city alone. So people are driving from Memphis, which is a population of 500,000 plus, to work in this town of 60,000. Also, we had the great opportunity when I was down there to speak with their mayor about some of the things that they do in their city to attract that business and industry. And I got some really good feedback on it. And the interview, our interview with them will be posted on our website here within the next couple of days. And basically, they have a great community relationship. Their communities are in sync with each other. The neighbors care about each other. And anywhere you walk in that town, you can see people they hold their heads up high because of their pride. They have so much pride in their city. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to work on improving the pride here in Dayton. We're going to work on getting inside of our communities, not merely cleaning those up and sweeping the streets off, but we're going to work for real improvement. We're going to get inside of our communities. We're going to put out community flyers and surveys to folks. We're going to let them know that we're here for you. We want to hear your voice, and what do you want to see done differently. When I started this, our goal was to speak to every resident before August of 2013. So we got 155,000 something folks we got to get out to and speak to. And what that's going to involve, when I leave the Army, I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to run this full time. We've had some great people step up and volunteer their assets to pay for our advertising, which is awesome because that means from our fundraising efforts, which I'll get to in a minute, it will enable us to put all 100% of the money raised back into our communities. And that can go a long ways. All too oftentimes, when we talk of taxes, money that's brought in from the city, people are like, where did that go? Where did my money go? I don't even know where my money went. What's it being used for? With Operation Dimes for Dayton, and I'll talk about that in a second, all 100% of the money raised from our communities will be available and will be online where you can see how much money was brought in and to what cause it's going to for city improvement. Thanks to our friends at U.S. Plastics in Lima, Ohio, we have 100 containers, 5-gallon in nature, which are going to be distributed all throughout the city. Businesses, grocery stores, banks, everywhere. When you go inside and you make a purchase, let's say you buy your soda and it's 90 cents. You have that extra dime in your pocket. You can throw it in the container and feel better about yourself on the way out the door, knowing that your money, all 100% of that, is going back into your community. Now, it won't be an overnight process with BAM. You have hundreds of thousands of dollars within a few weeks. It'll take a little while to get there. It'll take a little while to get established. But the more that we are seen in the city, the more that we get out, and the more that we do this work, people will take notice. Be like, wow, these guys aren't just talk, they're actually action as far as getting inside the communities. And I think that will be key. And you'll be able to, like I said, toss your change in there, and that will add up. The money will be collected. The amount will be posted on the website, and residents will vote to what cause it goes to better the communities. And when you're talking 150,000 residents, a couple of cents a piece, if they see the container and they donate, That's quite a bit of money that can be raised for the city. And our goal for this is $3 million within 3 years. And that's awesome. And I really do believe, honestly believe, that we can get there. So the next couple of days after our meeting here are going to be spent putting these containers out and talking with folks and getting their opinion and their suggestion on what they want to see done differently in the city. Because every person has a voice. Everyone here has a voice in what they want to see done in Dayton. Turk, how long have you lived here in the city?
Actually in the city for 15 years.
Okay, 15 years. Mr. Weir, how long have you lived here in the city? 20 years?
20 years.
So combine two people right there, that's 35 years experience within this city. Right? True, I've lived in Dayton area for a year before I joined the Army, coming back home. Add my year to the mix, and the numbers go up. If you take everybody's time spent here in Dayton, including this region, I guarantee you have 500 or 600 years of real experience of people on the ground living within this city. And who knows the city's problems the best? The residents. The people who eat, live, breathe, and sleep the city on a daily basis. So, in my opinion, it's going to be the real people that bring the real change to Dayton. Our politicians are just one individual, I admit it. We're going to have to work with them. The time for political parties is, in my opinion, you talk to a lot of people on, oh, I'm a Democrat, I'm an independent, and it doesn't matter. I'm certain here in this audience we have many different people of all different political backgrounds. Myself, I'm a registered Democrat. I'm sure we got some Republicans in here. I'm sure we got some independents in here. But it's going to take everybody working together with no hidden political agenda to make this city what it can be, what it's capable of being. And that is the whole purpose of this organization. Every day, real people coming together. I'd like to point out a few people that have volunteered to step us up and to help out within their communities. Turk, I'd like to introduce Turk to you for one. He's volunteered as a role of our community captain. Across the city, right now, we have 9 community captains, and we have 17 junior organizers. Not everybody was available to get to us today due to inclement weather. That's okay. You adapt and you overcome. Our community captains play a very vital role, and they have done an outstanding job. They've been able to help me spread the word of what we're trying to do, and been able to get a whole host of people involved and on board for work that's going to begin early next year. Our junior organizers have been critical as well. They've been out sowing the seeds of this, real people working for real change. And it's been awesome to see the work that you all have done, and I want to say thank you, because that's what it's going to take. I spoke yesterday with, or the day before, pastor of St. Vincent's Vineyard, and this Christmas season, they've just had a rough time as far as food donations brought in and everything like that. And we had a rather successful food drive yesterday. We're going to take some of that, or we take that food over there and distribute it to them, because it's all about neighbors coming together. And what I'm going to try to do come next year, we're not just going to have a food drive once a time for Christmas or Thanksgiving. Every 3 months, our goal is going to be to have a food drive across the city. Every 3 months, like clockwork. We're going to team up with Kroger, and we're going to have 5 stores across the area, centrally located, north, south, west, and east, and in the center of town. You'll be able to take your canned food donations. We're going to coordinate it so that we have an even better turnout for food donations. Like I said, it's going to be done every so many months, so people will take notice. Maybe other agencies will expand on that idea as well, and we'll even have more food brought in. You know, there's a myriad of issues that exist in Dayton. One of them right now, I'm not going to lie, Dayton's a very polarized city. It's a very unique city. There is a lot of hidden racial bias that exists in our city. Okay? If anybody says it's not, they haven't been out and they haven't spoken to people. But we're going to break those barriers. We're going to get past that, because to be involved with what we're trying to do, there's no room for being prejudiced. There's no room for any racial divide. That shouldn't exist. We live in the 21st century. Okay, we have come a long ways within the last 60 years. Our town, Dayton, should not be reminiscent of something that should exist in the Deep South. Okay, we have come way past that, folks, and that's what we're trying to accomplish, and that's what we will accomplish. And I'd like to point out Trey in the back there. Trey is with Trendsetters Online. He has been very instrumental and helping us put out the word as far as what we're trying to do. He's also a proud veteran like myself, who's come back to the community and working for some real improvement. When we first started this, I met Trey online, and he has a large publication that he does online, various articles, various news releases and stuff like that. And I'm proud to say we've partnered up with him to release our Citizens for Change information directly to him so he can post on his website and even reach more people. Because, you know, that's what it's going to take. Real people spreading the word. And you did a fantastic job, man. I want to say thank you, just personally myself. He did some great pieces, and that's what it's going to take. Everybody working together, looking past skin color, economic background, religious background. It doesn't matter. You know, anybody can be a member of Citizens for Change. You don't have to be Baptist. You don't have to be a Methodist. You don't even have to have any money. Everybody has a voice. Everybody's opinion is important, and that's what we're trying to take away from this. What sets this apart from other movements and other agencies in town, it's not geared towards one certain group of people. It's not geared towards 40 and above and successful in making money. That's not what this is about. It's about hearing your voice in city improvement and about implementing your suggestions and your ideas and getting the job done. Now, we got a tremendous amount of work ahead of us, but every person has a voice, regardless if you do not have a home to live in, or regardless if you're a young person. Okay? I don't consider myself old. At least I don't think I am anyway. I'm going on 32. Okay, I'll call myself young. So anyway, I'm a young person. I have a voice. So does everybody in here. And there's a lot of people that want to participate in organizations within our city, but they can't do it. Some of them are perhaps bedridden. They can't get out of their homes. They want to participate with the things that exist in our city. And we're going to go to those people. We're going to go to them, get their improvements, and what they want to see done. Because it all starts inside of your communities. Everything is linked together. If you get inside of your communities, you aggressively seek out a person's voice, then they realize, wow, there is a group, there is people that actually care. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take people that is getting inside those communities and talking with every resident. From early next year, around the March time frame, we're going to begin operations in Westwood. I spoke with Reverend Walker quite a while today, and they have a unique center in place over there. It's called the Wesley Center. They do a lot of great things over there for their individuals inside of those communities. They have job training for them, residents that were laid off and don't have a job. They can go there, receive new job training, and they provide transportation coordinated for them to their hospitals to help them get to their clinics and their various doctoral appointments. And what we want to do is we want to expand on that idea. If we had a center like that in every community, wow, you'll lead to a better, healthier, and more vibrant city right there, because that shows you care. And they've done an outstanding job there. And it was so nice to be able to meet people in that facility. People that I would not have, had I not been over there, I wouldn't have met. But they've done many great things. And it's organizations like that that do that work inside those communities that are going to need our help, that are going to need us to get in there and to assist them either through volunteer efforts, through the money raised, or what might have you. But it's going to take us coming together, working with other agencies here in town, and actually getting boots on the ground and working inside of our communities. Because everybody has a voice, everybody has experience within this city, and everybody is unique. And that's what we're trying to take away from this. A lot of people, I'm approaching 9 years in the Army. A lot of people, oh, you getting out of the Army? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm moving on. Time to do something different. Time to be more constructive inside of my community. And the Army has been great. It's given me a lot of experience, which I need. It's given me a lot of tools, which I need to basically help run this, to help put it out there in the communities. But it's going to involve all of us working together. And like I said, we're organized across the city with our community captains, our junior organizers. And as we get started working inside of our community, we will pull more volunteers. The way it's going to work in Westwood, we're not going to take the whole Westwood community because that's just so large. But we're going to break it up into sections. We're going to have like an Alpha section, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. We're going to work in each section. We're going to adopt it for community improvement. once a certain degree of stabilization is met, the residents are happy with the improvements within that community, the ones that they suggested to us, then we're going to move on to the next section, and over to the next section, down to the next section. And before you know it, it won't be an overnight process by any means. It will take several months to accomplish within that community. It will restore some of the pride within that community and within each community that we operate in. And then residents will vote again on what section of town for us to go to. So we may start on the west side of town, which we are, and we could wind up on the east side of town. What's unique is letting everybody know that their voice matters in this. Your voice matters. Your vote actually matters. You can log on to this site, www.dayton.com. You can cast your vote for a community for us to go to next, and for what you want to see improved. Because all too often, our voice gets left out. And we're here to take your voice to City Hall and to work with our government officials and to let them know, hey, that's what the residents over here want. That's what the residents over here want. And people are like, well, we already have a system in place. It's called a priority board. Their priority board is great in theory, but it's geared towards specific neighborhoods. What we're doing with this is it's city-wide. It's not geared towards neighborhoods, okay? It's city-wide. So anybody across the city can put their input in, can have their voice heard, and we will work our hardest to bring about that improvement that they want to see done. But the good portion of what all this is going to take, it's going to take real people coming together and getting to know one another. And that's what the purpose of this first meeting was today. Because there's people there, I mean, I never met, personally, I met maybe a couple of people in this room. I never have met anybody here individually one-on-one, and I'm glad I did. Because that just lets me know that there is more people inside of this community and inside of this city that care about its direction and care about its future. And that's what it's going to take, everyone coming together. I was talking with Mr. Weir the other day. We also had a great interview with the around Jonesboro area. They also have an outstanding public school system. The public school, the superintendent that I interviewed, Mr. Taylor, their school system used to be ranked in the lower half of the state, Valley View Public Schools. And since they have put a few cost-effective things in, it wasn't very expensive at all, and they've been able to take their school from the lower, in the state to the, I think it's the second or third highest public school in the state as far as education-wise goes. 60% of their students that graduate go on to attend college. 98.3% of the parents in that school participate in the parent-teacher conference. 98.3%. 60% of students going on to college. Of those 60% that go on to college, graduate, 70% of those stay in the area. They stay there. Why do they stay there? Because their economy is stable. They have the good jobs. They have the factories. They have a community that is worth studying. And also this interview, I'm going to share with Mr. Weir, and I'm going to put it online about some of the suggestions. If you go in each of their classrooms, it's about half the size of this room here, and they have speaker boxes all over. The teacher has a headset. She talks into it. Everybody in the classroom can hear, regardless of whether the child's sitting in the back, regardless of whether the child's sitting in the front. Even children with special needs can clearly understand what's going on. They have a great student-teacher ratio, and they have many different social venues that they use to keep in contact with their students. And all this information will be posted online in the interview put out. We also had a great interview with their chief of police and also the officer in charge of their youth involvement program about how that they are able to work within their communities and work in conjunction with their police and keep that level of crime down low inside their community. And these are just everyday people inside the community working for improvement, and they've been successful. So there's no reason why we can't be successful here. We just have to remain committed in what we do and seek out the residents' voice, put the city's interest before our own, and work together. One of the things that I talked about with Times for Dayton, like I said, you'll be able to log onto the website, see how much money's been brought in down to the exact penny. Most organizations in town They don't do that. The United Way, a great organization, but not 100% of the money that they raise goes back to United Way programs. With this, however, 100% of the money will be the case. Like I said, we will pay for advertising efforts, and we're going to be able to do that. We're currently seeking our 501c3 status. So within, I would say probably within 10 or 11 months, if all goes well, we'll be a tax-free charitable organization. So we're working very hard on that. But then again, that will be an overnight process either. I talked with some IRS representatives from Cincinnati. Everything looks good until the paperwork gets back and we'll be in tax exempt status, so that won't hinder our efforts at all. And on the 21st, a couple of days, we're going to put these containers out. We're going to start getting it out. And then the money we're used from this will go inside of our first community for some improvement early next year. And that's what it's going to take, creative and suggestive ideas and opinions from the residents. And I'm sure the mayor will agree that it will take everybody working for a better city. Because the mayor's only one man, the congressman's only one man, the senator's only one man, the president's only one person. They can only do so much. But if we really want to improve this city, we are going to have to work together and look past such things as skin color, religious background, economic background, because that's what it's going to take. A lot of people have said, well, I took a cynical attitude. Hey, you're going to have those people out there, okay? But actions will speak louder than words. Once you get started working in the communities, once you get started talking with the residents, once you get started working for some real improvement, even more people will get on board and it will spread. Also, next year, we're going to open up our online store, Citizens for Change. We have a Citizens for Change shirt, ball cap, whatever. The money raised from this will go back into the communities. It also helps slowly to restore some of the pride in our city of real residents working together for real improvement. Because that's what it's going to take, folks. It's not going to take one person. Nobody can wave a magic wand and improve this city overnight. And that was the whole purpose of this meeting today, was to let residents know that we are going to work for them, we're going to work with them, and we're going to get this accomplished. I would like to open it up now to some people, like I said, that have helped us out, and that have some suggestions, things they want to see worked on in their city. Because everybody here, like I said, has a voice, and everybody has different circumstances and different problems that they want to see fixed within their community. Turk, I'll start with you. What's one thing that you would like to see worked on in the city?
Well, it's funny, you mentioned the priority boards and how they work with individual communities. And this kind of just crossed my mind. I think one of the problems is it segregates the communities. Because, okay, well, we work from, I live around the Southeast Priority Board, or, this is our priority board. These communities are all segregated. I'd like to see the communities become we're Dayton. We're not, St. Anne's Hill or Walnut Hills. Yes, those areas exist. But living here, I've actually seen, look, you live just outside of St. Anne's Hill, so you're not as good as I am. I think maybe Citizens for Change can come together and work with the priority boards to put a net over all of the communities and, let them know, hey, yes, you're Walnut Hills, you're St. Anne's Hill, but we're all Dayton, and we need to work together. The Southeast Priority Board needs to work with the Northwest Priority Board and with common goals in mind.
You get those neighborhoods in sync.
Exactly.
Absolutely correct.
The neighbors are, you live over there, so I don't care about you. I live over here, this is all I care about, is my little, one block area. And that's not gonna, if you look out at all the old manufacturing buildings that we have here in the city that are crumbling, that's not gonna solve the problem. It's just not gonna do it. We have to come together as a community and work from the inside out.
I'll agree 100%. Now, the priority boards have done some great things for the city. But you're right, we're going to have to work. We're not going to work for the priority boards. We're going to work with the priority boards. And we're also going to show what a group of united residents can do within the city. Like I said, we're going to come up with some creative ways to bring jobs back into the area. And it's not going to happen overnight. When I leave town next week, I'm going back down to Jonesboro, sitting back down with the mayor again, sitting back down with the Chamber of Commerce again. I'm going to be meeting with some more plan officials about specifically why that they chose their area to begin with. What can we perhaps possibly do to improve and lure that business over here? Because that's how you get business in. You need to find out the reason why business is left to begin with, why they just up and went. And you can't do that if you don't ask questions, and that's what we're going to do. Like I said, it won't be an overnight process, no guarantees, but you know what? It's a start. It's a place to begin. And I think we're on the right path for that. But if we just put the city before our own interest and actively seek out those businesses, I really do think in the long run that we can have a huge impact on Lawrence industry, not just any jobs, but the right jobs back into our region. One thing that's also brought up to me has been a situation that exists with the homeless here in our city. Okay? Now, there have been so many, not just onesies and twosies, but families that have had their homes foreclosed that now find themselves out on the streets. Okay? And a lot of people have this mentality, oh, the homeless, get away from me. No. That's the residents of our city too. They have voices. What we're going to do when we begin work inside of our communities, we're going to work on taking a census at our homeless shelters so we exactly see what number of homeless people we have, not just a rough ballpark figure, but trying to get as close to the exact numbers we can get so that we can begin working on finding ways to help them. Because until you have close, I'm not talking a rough figure, but until you have numbers sitting in front of you, you really don't know exactly how many people for one you're dealing with and for what issues that they might have. We've been in talks with a company out of Utah. These green containers that came from Iraq that they used to house soldiers in, they bring them back to the States. A lot of times those containers, they're not green back. They just bring those containers back and they rust away. They don't go anywhere. But a company in Utah takes these containers, makes them green, makes them into houses, makes those into nice living spaces. And for a 25,000 square foot facility with basic heating and wiring, you can get that for $400,000. That would go a long ways towards housing homeless people. Now, you just wouldn't be opening another homeless shelter today. You would actually get the homeless residents of our city involved in this actual construction, actually putting it together. So one, you restore a sense of pride that they have in the city for working on it. They feel better about themselves knowing that they are doing something constructive. Now, granted, not every person is going to want to do this, but there are families out there that would be willing and would love to help with such a project. To get this going, I've already had people send me emails, volunteers that have said they would love to come in and teach classes to our homeless residents. Perhaps they could use their higher education, their doctorate degrees that they have to help our homeless residents out and to help them find jobs, just like they do with the Wesley Center. Something that can be done all over there, not just there alone. But like I said, we've been in talks with them, and they have been gracious enough to continue to keep the channels of communication open with us. And I have some unique pictures from their facility and some of their centers that they have put up, which when I release all of our information on YouTube, I'm going to have that slideshow on there as well. It's just going to take people spreading the word of what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish. But it's going to take a positive attitude, first of all, and willingness to get involved and not just sit back and say, oh, that's someone else's problem, let them handle it. Because it will not get corrected that way. It will get corrected when we become involved, when we actually take this city seriously, when we actually remain committed to doing something. And along the way, we will show other people what a bunch of Daytonians are capable of when we put our mind to it. Also spoke with Senator Miller a couple of weeks back. These efforts are being watched on a higher level as far as what we're able to accomplish inside of our city with real people coming together and working. And there is a possibility that if our efforts are successful, that they will help us take that fundraiser statewide. So that's big for us. There's no means of guarantee, but there's a good possibility on that. So we're keeping the channels of communication open, and that's what it takes, everybody working together. Had a meeting with the Montgomery County Democratic Party the other day, going back over there Monday to talk to them again, because it will take all political parties working together, not after their own agenda or their own piece of the pie. So, I think we're off to a good start. We've got so many great people here. I'm sure they have suggestions of what they want to see done differently in the city. And it's as easy as going to our website, letting us know what you would like to see done within your community, stepping up, sounding off, and letting your voice be heard. Because there's not very many people within this city that have had the opportunity to have their voice heard. And that's what we're going to do. Get in there, see what people want done, and work our hardest to bring about the improvement. Mr. Wade, what would you like to see done differently in our city, in your community?
I like to look at like the city as a whole. I'm blessed to live up off Linden. Our neighborhood's pretty nice for the most part. We got wonderful neighbors and stuff, which I want to start spreading the word around to Citizens for Change, because we all like stuck up for Gary Lightsell and gave him a lot of ideas and stuff while he was running. So I think they'd be real interested in this. But what I would like to see is like one of the things that I think is big, really would benefit from is doing more for. I sound like a broken record, but the small businesses, and because there's just something really neat about like 2nd Street Market that we have, and then if you've ever went to Yellow Springs with that climate of little small mom and pop shops, it's a really neat experience, and there's a lot of really nice stuff, and if you can get the word out and get more people to see the nice stuff, and spread it around. I think that would be one really good thing, at least for jobs, too. It would help with that. Right now, I'm unemployed and I'm going back to school. I think education is something too that I know there's not a whole lot we could do on a community level with that. But
You know that we'll have to work on it. You know, we'll have to come up with creative suggestions, creative ideas. And this won't be the only meeting that we have. We're going to have more meetings. When we get started in Westwood, first, like I said, the first portion of it will involve going door to door, talking with folks, letting people know, hey, we want to hear from you. Here's a community survey. Let us know what you want to see improved. Do that for a couple of days. Place out your signs for community adoption. The culmination of that week-long, first week-long effort inside that community, with the culmination of the town hall meeting, where you invite more residents to come in. And then next town hall meeting, or next meeting, what we're going to do, we're going to have like potluck, like they do at church. People can come in, get to know one another. That way they just don't come here and just not limited to some water and stuff, but they can socialize inside that community, get to know one another, and break down barriers that exist there. So that's one of our goals for when we get started in Westwood, where we're going to have these town hall meetings in each community, so that we can speak to every resident before August of 2015. And it will happen. It's going to take a lot of hard work, and I plan for one, being in the streets 5 days a week. Hope that wasn't over. I just want to roll it up and throw it over there. But I really do think it's going to involve getting inside of our communities and getting the work accomplished. Yes, ma'am.
I read on the internet not too long ago that we really have kind of two issues here. We have high unemployment, but there are jobs begging for people, technical jobs. We don't have education. I don't know if we can, but I think we can make a start. These people need, and these people need some way to get the people who need jobs educated to do the jobs that need the people.
That's a good point.
It's a big job, and I've seen advertisements on PBS that they're wanting to make Dayton an aerospace center.
Basically, well, it's pretty much known as now the capital of aerospace, but yeah, to expound on that.
And so, what do we need to get people who need it, to qualify to do the jobs that are needed? I mean, I'm sure they can't all be PhD level. You know, I think job training is going to be a big deal. Hopefully we get them laid off by big, fired and left by big corporations. We don't have those basic mom and pop places for them to fall back on, like we used to, because everything's makes the huge.
And like we were talking about, some of our volunteers that have those educational experience, have those degrees, have volunteered to, once we get going, once we get boots on the ground, like I said, it's, slow growing process, but we get them involved with it and to teach those residents some of those skills that will be necessary for those technical jobs. Just further proof that residents caring for each other is what's going to lead to the success of the city in the long run. Granted, to so many people, for every negative email that we received, I must have received 20 or 30 positive emails about what we're trying to do and what we're trying to get accomplished. And it won't be an overnight process, but it's going to take everybody working together for a better, safer city.
She mentioned a good point about how we have a lot of IT jobs, and then manufacturing is obviously dying. It's dying, in America. I work in manufacturing. I actually work at Air Force and Technology at Pat. We have in Area B where I work, which is basically the R&D area. We have AFRL, Air Force Research Laboratories. We have AFIT, which are students that are getting their doctoral degrees in engineering, and they're rocket science. That's basically what they are. I'm surprised that we can't attract more aerospace R&D firms to this area with that we have the largest Air Force research laboratory anywhere, right here in Dayton. We don't really see any aerospace R&D companies coming in here, which is kind of surprising.
That would definitely be something to be looked at as far as luring into the area. Those technical jobs associated with the more technical jobs associated with the aerospace industry. Like I said, we're sitting on a wealth of resources within this region alone. A great deal of water, which will attract food companies. The fact that we are known as the aerospace capital, luring that right business in there, because most people, when they think of flight, what they think of North Carolina, first in flight. That's what they say. No, we all know that not to be the case. But anyway, North Carolina has done such an outstanding job of marketing that most people automatically say, well, that's the birthplace of aviation, North Carolina. No, wrong. So, that's something else that we can utilize to advertise our city in a positive light. The fact that we are home of aviation. You're absolutely correct. Does anybody else have any thoughts as to, yes, sir?
Maybe I could address a couple of these things. Our rich history, the aviation, that needs to be built on heavily. And I can speak for the education aspect. I teach high school and I also teach at Brett's College, which is a more career-oriented college. I teach composition classes for various types of students. So that needs to be helped out a lot, and I don't even know where to begin with that. But in addition to that, I also am heavily active in a volunteer organization. It's through St. Vincent de Paul Homeless Shelter. And a couple of friends of mine actually started through Rice State University a tutoring program where we went down there and physically built a room for the kids to be tutored, and we've supplied it with computers and tutors there 4 days a week, actually. So I think in addition to that, we should have some cooperation among all these organizations. And I think that this organization, especially since we're all just citizens getting together, we could be that in between, that mediator to make the different steps and inform people of everything and get maybe the leaders of all these different groups together in a forum and discuss this in addition to all the citizens, so that everybody is getting their ideas out there together, more cohesive, because everything, as you're speaking about, is kind of here. If we can create cohesion among all the different entities, that right there is the biggest step, isn't it? I mean, all these people are working for something, they're just doing it separately. So we can just get together and bring it together. That would be a big help.
Absolutely correct. I agree with you 100%. We're not going to just fight for our own piece of the puzzle, our own piece of the pie, so to speak. We're going to work with those agencies. One thing that I would like to do later on is set up a city-wide community care hotline where residents can call in if they have a question on any social service that exists in the city. Hey, where do I go for this help? Where do I go for this? You could point them in the right direction and point them to where they can get that help that they need instead of them out flapping.
It exists. Yeah,
Not a lot of people utilize it.
We didn't know about it this year.
I've been around for 7 years. And it was one of the things I brought up in the debates. The system's been around for 7 years, but as a party board member, I wasn't even told that. I heard it through somebody at a church meeting. Set up between the county and United Way. It's called 211. It's a social service hotline.
Right. So it's just a matter of things like that being utilized in our city, letting people know where that's at, where they can turn to, what they got to do to get the help that they need, because not a lot of people know. You take, for instance, we'll go back to the subject of homeless, our homeless veterans, for example. Okay, we got a lot of homeless veterans. Do you know why we got a lot of homeless veterans? Okay, you got a lot of homeless veterans due to discharge deaths. All right? A lot of your Vietnam, Korean War veterans you see out there on the streets, they suffer from PTSD. PTSD wasn't diagnosed as an actual problem for vets until 2002, 2003. So guess what? If you were a vet in Korea, you were a vet in Vietnam, and you did your time, you came back over, maybe you got in a little trouble, you got kicked out for a bad conduct discharge, they didn't recognize PTSD as being common with that. Those discharge statuses are now for them bad conduct. They were not upgraded. A certain amount of time has elapsed, and they can't upgrade those statuses. So that's why you have a lot of homeless veterans. One, they can't receive the benefits that they need, that they are entitled to. Not a lot of people know that, but that's what it's going to take. For example, some of our homeless veterans and getting them off the street. And that's one thing which I'm very, very, very passionate about. Because those guys risked their life in defense of this country, defense of our communities, and now they're sitting in the streets homeless. That's something that disgusts me. It's something which I, seriously, am going to work my hardest to fix. And I can talk about that subject all day long. And homelessness shouldn't exist in our society that we live in today. It shouldn't. We are in the 21st century. We have the technology. We have the residents that can do this. We have the people that can work together. It starts with caring for your neighbor, and it starts with working for them for a better city. If you see that your next door neighbor is struggling and you have the ability to help that person out, help that person out. It's that simple. If you have an opportunity where you can be impacting someone's life, whether you give them $1 or whether you give them a can of food, help that person out, because it starts with kind deeds. That's where it all starts at. Our country got so far off track as far as people out for their own agenda and not caring for the neighbor, not caring for those who live in the community. And that's where the problems that exist in our city stem from. And it's going to get better by caring for your neighbor, looking out for those who live in the community. Today, after close this meeting here in a little while, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you want to speak directly to myself or anyone, Catherine, is there anybody in here? Let me know. Let me know if you got a specific problem within your community that you want to see addressed, or what we can do to perhaps help you out in any way. Also, we have some volunteer request forms. If you would like to volunteer to help us as we get started working inside of our first community next year, just come and see me. I'll shoot that volunteer information down to you. Got a little form you can fill out. But it's all about a whole neighborhood concept in our city, getting everybody to know one another. And I think that we will be able to grow to bigger and better things in the city. Does anybody else have any questions or concerns that they want to bring up or they want to address?
I just have another comment. Another thing, Dayton is noted for, and I come from Wisconsin, and I even heard about the Dayton Valley. We have a rich arts community, rich resources here that I think need to be emphasized. There's an old song, I think from World War II era, called Bread and Roses. We need bread, we need roses. And I think our art community is gardening, organizations, these kinds of things too. They're not just for people, the elite. They need to get to everybody. Kids need to see a ballet performance, or a concert. And every kid. Every neighbor needs to be beautiful. Neighborhood. I live in Oakland, so it's beautiful. And people have an attitude of beauty. I drive through the Student Street area to get to work, and it's not beautiful. But couldn't it be? These houses are in I see one from that was torn down, which didn't look good. Couldn't we put something beautiful there? A community garden. They've done Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. Yeah, there was a program on PBS in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. And had, I sent you an email, where they have quite a gardening, little pocket gardens in communities. That's another thought.
It's another suggestion. It's another thought. It's another idea. And see, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for those ideas. We're looking for those suggestions. Yes, ma'am.
Kind of on that line, I saw an interview with someone this summer who was doing something like this, and she said in many neighborhoods it's easier to find a gum than a tomato. And I was thinking, even food drives are great, but the kinds of foods that people donate to food drives aren't healthy. They're canned, processed, non-perishables by necessity. And we grow a garden, and we're also a member of the CSA, so we find ourselves with more produce than we know what to do with. And we were talking about it over breakfast this morning, that if everybody had some produce, couldn't we hand that out to families? I mean, there's kids that have never tasted a green pepper. They don't even know what that is, and they're in our community. And instead of donating SpaghettiOs, which are, I mean, it's necessary, they need the energy, but couldn't we donate some stuff that they wouldn't otherwise get a hold of, something that's healthy, something that would combat the epic problems like childhood diabetes and they can't get exercise because the neighborhoods aren't safe, so at the very least we can give them excellent nutrition and food, access to that food by having something like that, a community garden, or by everybody who has a garden just, I mean, we complain that we have too many cucumbers, and it's a shame. Nobody should have too much food when there's people who don't have it.
I mean, that's an excellent point. I'm glad you brought it up. Because see, it's ideas like that, suggestions like that that can be implemented, that can be done for relatively low cost. And that's why it's important for everyone to voice their opinion and to get their ideas out there so that we can come together and be like, you know what, let's do this. I like it. I do. That's a great idea. I was primarily raised on a farm, okay? So I know the benefits of having fresh produce. It's a heck of a lot better than anything we get in the can in the store. I'll agree 100%. And I'm glad you brought it up, and I will look further into that. And please get on there, send me your detailed idea down, your detailed suggestion, and I'd be great. I'll let you know what I can find out about it. I'll see maybe if it's being done in another community somewhere.
I garden too, but I know all about like having the extra produce and stuff. The homeless thing's a good idea. Another good thing you might think about is if you could develop some kind of a network, get some kind of organization where the people that do garden know each other, or have a list of contact. You could swap produce, maybe even like have a thing where you could have like a collective where you could set up a booth somewhere and sell stuff in Second Street Market or someplace, and then use the money for things in the community or whatever you wanted. That's
Problem with it, yeah, I mean, the only problem that exists is making sure everybody knows what's available and what's out there, because there's a lot of people, where do I go? Where do I go for help? What do I do? Where do I go? And that's what we're gonna try to do, point them in the right direction, point them, hey, here's this for you, here's that for you, so they can utilize that. But I do think, I love the idea with gardens inside the communities, because I'm sure there are onesies and twosies of those being done around here, but imagine if you had that citywide in each community. Imagine if you had that in each community, you would combat, I'm not saying you'd end hunger, but you would combat a huge portion of that, and you would bring in some, benefit to our homeless residents.
she, like I said, she's got extra cucumbers, I got extra tomatoes, somebody else got extra lettuce, extra bell peppers.
You put that together, you got a meal net.
Yeah.
You put everything together, and you're on the path to helping out more folks. And see, that's something we can utilize come next year too. We do our coordinated food drives. We research the idea. That's why right now I'm looking at I'm going to go ahead and prep for our next drive. And it's going to be put 5 months out in advance. For 4 or 5 months, we're going to utilize radio. We're going to utilize whatever we got to do. We're going to put it out when we get inside of our communities and start talking to folks. Some of these suggestions, some of these ideas, and get more people involved with it, because that's what it's going to take. Letting people know that, hey, we want to hear your voice. We want to work with you. This is what we want to see done. This is what you want to see done. Coming together, those creative ideas and suggestions for city improvement. And I think that we're off to a great start today. Due to inclement weather, not everybody's able to come. That's fine. We're off to a great start. And I guarantee you, come next time, as we start working more and more inside of our communities, we'll higher and higher turnout. We'll get more suggestions, get more ideas, and more thoughts on city improvement. Does anybody else have any? Yes, ma'am.
I have one other thing. I worked for a year at Eastwood as a case manager, if anyone's familiar with the organization that helps the mentally ill. And then now I work at the Social Security Administration on the SSI unit, which is also providing money for disabled people who have very low incomes. So I deal with a population like that a lot. I work with them, and I've become fairly familiar with the services around here. And one thing that comes up a lot is that they move a lot. They're not able to pay their bills, or they're evicted for one reason or another. And one problem that we have with that, particularly when I was at Eastway, is there's no service to help them move. So I was thinking what we need is some kind of a community service that would help people move. And what would happen, they would move, and they would have to leave all their stuff in their old apartment, and they would have to start over, and they would have to find new donations, and they never got to really have their own things. It was, like, they moved every 6, 9, 12 months, and they leave all of their stuff, and they just go. I was in people's apartments who would go into an apartment and it was empty, and they would be sleeping on the floor with just a blanket and no food in the fridge, and they just didn't have any way to get it until they could finally accumulate donations, and then they would get evicted again, and it was cyclical, and they would just have to leave all their stuff behind again. And I think
People in the
that's
storage business have been doing really well, it's still, 60 or $100 a month
it's too
for
expensive.
storage. And then they end up abandoning those too, and their stuff gets sold off there.
And they can't pay to have someone move their things. A lot of them are elderly or disabled. They can't do it themselves. They don't know anyone with a truck. I don't know what we could do. I don't have any idea for the logistics.
Simply involve your residents, your volunteers to help out. Because I tell you what, there's people associated, not just with this group, but all across town that have those resources, that have extra resources that can help. It's just a matter of reaching those people and letting them know, hey, you want to do some good for your community instead of looking out for your own interest. How about you help your community out? How about you get involved with your neighbors, get involved with your residents, find out how you can best help them. You put that caring spirit out there, you get people involved, and you're on the way to a bigger and better city. And that's, like the Reverend talked about the other day, the greater love of people is cooled off. And I think you've got to get people involved, and you've got to get people caring. And that's going to be key.
I was thinking too, to elaborate on that would be another good idea if you could get the word out and try to make help more accessible with like helping people with like financial help, like education and all that with a lot of the people with that, like you said, are cyclical. I know sometimes, they probably have some very real problems that a financial education might not necessarily help it, but I'm thinking that might be a good damage control for like some of the ones that might be able to manage their money better or find help for bills or whatnot, and help assuage some of the people being evicted and stuff, and just trying to keep it maintained.
Getting those people with the fiscal responsible individuals that have actually degrees and actually do that for a living, get them involved in giving classes to individuals to help them better themselves, manage their money, and help better manage their family income. You're absolutely correct. And I'm sure there are individuals out there within this city who would love to donate their time to this, would love to be able to help their residents out. It's just a matter of reaching them. And I think, like I said, it's our goal to reach every resident, and that includes those with those PhDs, that includes those with those doctorate degrees that want to get inside there and help out in their communities. And I think if you get out there and you reach everybody, you put this out there that, hey, we want to help our neighbors out, we want to build a stronger and better city, you're going to get more and more people involved. But it's just going to take getting on the ground, staying committed, and staying that course. But I want to thank you personally, each and every one of you, for coming out today. And I'm going to be sticking around here after this is done for a while longer. And if I'd love to talk with you longer. So I'm going to be around here. I'm not just jetting. Mr. Ware, I'd like to let you take a look at that interview with that superintendent from that school. And all this will be posted online on YouTube. So you'll be able to check out that interview from that Chamber of Commerce, the interview with that mayor, the interview with the police chief, and you can see what they're doing for creative suggestions for city improvement on their end. Because we can't just say, sometimes you have to go to others for ideas, suggestions, and help. The Chamber of Commerce down there, the president even told me, the mayor down there even told me, hey, look, if you'd like to do a partnership program in our city for an economic study, let me know. We'd be more than happy to help out. So I'm going back down there myself, and I'm going to talk to them again, but it involves seeking out other communities, drawing ideas and suggestions, not just from the city, not just from this region, but what maybe has worked elsewhere across the state and in other states as well. It's an idea of keeping an open mind and talking with people and learning from them, because everybody has an experience and everybody has a voice, and it's a matter of just working together for city improvement. But I do thank each and every one of you for coming out today, and if you would like to volunteer to help us out come next year, just see me, because everybody has a skill, everybody has a voice, everybody can help in some facet or another, and there's no requirement for volunteer time or none of that stuff. So if you can donate just an hour of your time, by all means, let me know. I'll I'll log that down, put that in our database. Let me know if you got a special skill you would like to utilize to help us as we get started within these communities, because that's what it's going to take. I mean, we got, what's your main experience, Turk?
I'm a machinist and welder.
Okay, machinist and welder right there, bam, outstanding. Cam, what's your main area of expertise? What'd you say you're best at?
I'm an author.
See, author, we got a writer right there. Mr. Wick?
I'm going to school right now for environmental engineering, but I am going to be changing my major to civil engineering. So I'll, like, think of math. I also do wood carvings and woodworking too.
See how unique that is just with 3 people alone right there? Experience with gardening, you said? See, bam, right there.
Psychology.
Right there, I can already see it now, set up citywide, a community center, community garden for all the community, right? You see, I mean, you got the experience in here, you got the know-how, you got the people with the tools necessary. It's all about coming together and working for that improvement. And it was so great to be able to do this today and to talk with everybody here, to meet everyone, because we can do it. It's a matter of believing that you can do it. An old friend of mine used to always say, believing makes everything easy. And when he always said it, I was like, yeah, right. Okay, this guy was 87 years old in Egypt. He would swim out 3 miles out and 3 miles back every other day. That's 6 miles. 87 years old? Come on now. 87 years old. When I get 87, I don't even want to move out of bed. You know what I'm saying? And this guy was swimming 6 miles, okay? And he would always come in, and it's not the Red Sea. He doesn't, you know, believing makes everything easy. I'd be like, man, I can't even swim a mile, dude. You just did 6 miles and you're 87 years old. You know, he used to always ride around the compound in his bike. He would do a bike every other day. He'd rotate it out, and you'd see him riding his bike. One day his tire came off his bike, and the bike flipped over on him, and he got up and he was skin all up. He took his bike and threw it over a cliff. He said, believe it makes everything easy. I'll just walk the rest of the way. I'm like, this dude was a hard charger, you know? So if someone can be that committed and they're 87 years old, surely us can come together and work on improving our community and our city. And I think we're off to a great start. Yes, ma'am.
We have left out our young people, and I think that it would be great if every school would open up once or twice a month and have a meeting where they involve the young people to get into the community. We have a lot of senior citizens that live alone. If we would pair them up with the senior citizen, let them adopt them as a grandparent, and sit and watch TV with them, listen to their stories, and learn a lot from them, that would be fantastic, because that older person is lonesome. They need attention. And some of those old people eat cat food. They need food. They need help. And our young people form gangs just to be part of something. They're looking for something to do. They're looking for something to be involved with. And these bullies, they're not really mean people. They may have been treated wrong growing up. There's good in everyone. And we can touch their hearts if we reach out to them and show them there's a better way. And there's a way to care about people instead of hurting people. But I really think that getting in with the young people, because they're our next generation,
You're absolutely correct.
we need to help those young people come together, and they could have art classes, sewing classes.
You get the young people involved, because the young people are the future of the city. They are. They're the future of our country, the future of our nation. And we definitely don't want to leave them out, as Cam said. Real quick story, and I'm not meaning to drag this out here. My next door neighbor, I did not even know him until I went across the street and befriended him. World War II vet, Battle of the Bulge, highly decorated soldier. And now he helps family members connect. Like say he had a grandfather that was in the service and you didn't know anything about him. He looks that up for you and does that research for free. What a wonderful story, just right across the street from him. So that's what I'm saying, like getting involved in your community, getting to know those people, forming those relationships, and then you're sowing the seeds for a better city in the long run. And you're absolutely correct, and I'm glad you brought that up. But yeah, they're all too often we forget about our elderly people. And what better people to learn from if you're a younger person? Because oftentimes I find myself going over there for a cup of coffee pretty much every day now, just talking with him. Because it's so great to sit down there and learn from him and his experiences, not just because he's a veteran, because we have so many things in common that had I not walked across the street and got to know him, I wouldn't have known all this. And, you know, the potential for this to succeed, it exists, but it just involves getting your communities, getting to know those people, and applying your skills that you have to working for a better city. Because everybody has a skill, and that's what we're trying to put out here today. Everybody has a voice. Yourself, you're a high school teacher, correct? See, bam, you're a teacher. You know, when we get started working in communities and stuff, if you have the time, you could, you know, teach a few disadvantaged students, help better their grades. I'm sure you already do that. And we get more teachers involved with it, and then we're on the way to bigger and better things. But I thank each and every one of you, and I'm going to be hanging around here afterwards for a little while. Then I'll be there over to St. Vincent's to drop off some food. But thank you so much for coming out today, and we will have more meetings in the future. I encourage and I ask each of you to spread the word of real people working for real change, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take real people getting the word out there, that there are people that care, there are people that want to make a difference, and that there is no hidden political agenda. There's nothing to be gained from it other than a better, stronger, and more vibrant city, and in the long run, better economy. Thank you guys so much. And if you have anything, want to talk, whatever, I'll be around here. Mr. Ware, when you're doing an interview, please feel free to check out our website and just pass it along. Because we're going to put all these interviews on YouTube. We're going to put all of them out there on the social media sites and everything as well, so that we can appeal to more people, and everybody else will be able to know what we're doing within the city. But we have a long, hard road ahead of us, but it can get done, and it will get done. And I thank you guys so much for that.
Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it. Putting this together.
We will, man. We've got a lot of work to do, but we're going to get it done.
I think, give everybody who's in this room, another person, bring them to the next meeting. You know, these people that are writing stuff that way, again, out of 10 or 15 ideas, you may get 2 good ones that are actually feasible to do with very little money, or we can incorporate the community. If you bring double the number of people here, you double the number of ideas, and then you double the number of feasible ideas. And over time, as I get there, I'm going to see the ideas grow and the communities grow. Hopefully we can battle it back with.
It will in the long run. I'll be around. I'll have to respond. Mr. Boyd, you have a great day.